Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Making Jon Stewart understand America. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. I must say, the left in this country, extremely creative. They spin and put out stuff that never ceases to amaze. The latest is about my interview with President Obama. The liberal spin is the interview dealt with phony issues, stuff trumped up by the Fox News channel.
I don't know if you saw it on Fox on Sunday there, but before the Seahawks scrimmaged with the team of stoned Colorado teenagers, Fox aired another world-class matchup as the most powerful man in the free world sat down with Obama to cover topics like loose nukes, Middle East peace, trade regulations, and the environment. I'm just with you.
Lydia, your detractors believe that you did not tell the world it was a terror attack because your campaign didn't want that out. I got to get to the IRS, but you're saying no corruption, not health care. When did you know there were going to be problems with those computers?
Look at that, O'Reilly dipping whole scale into the full Fox scandal grab bag. And while many of those issues have been thoroughly investigated on multiple occasions, it's a big show. It's a Super Bowl pre-show. You got to play the hits.
Mr. Stewart echoing what President Obama said, that some of the issues I brought up have been, quote, thoroughly investigated, unquote. Of course, that's a farce. There have been no cogent explanations about why the administration misled the world over Benghazi. There have been no arrests either in the terror killings there. Likewise with the IRS, no explanation about who was behind the targeting of conservative groups, even though the president vowed to find out. And finally, on Obamacare, only 8% of people using the Affordable Health Care website, 8%, say it's working well after all these months. Again, no explanation as to why that is. Now, I know, and you probably know too, that these issues aren't important to Jon Stewart or even to the president. They don't see them as vital because they don't pertain to social justice or global warming. So, if I ask about those issues, I'm a doofus, a scandal monger. That's the spin. Now, I'm going to speak very slowly so Stewart and his crew can take some notes. Number one, there are serious charges that the Obama administration would not tell the truth about Libya because of the upcoming presidential election. Those charges have not been proven, but they're in play. Number two, if the Internal Revenue Service is abusing its vast power, every American should be concerned. There has been little done by the Obama administration to uncover possible abuse of power. And finally, the American people are being forced to accept Obamacare. And right now, despite billions of dollars spent, it's still chaotic. I believe that might be an important issue. Are you hearing me out there in left-wing fantasy land? Good grief. And that's the memo. One footnote, we've invited Mr. Stewart on The Factor. He owes me an appearance, so we hope he shows up soon. We'll send a car for him that is not subsidized by the government. Now, the top story reaction. Joining us from Washington, Republican Kate Obenchain and Democrat Kirsten Powers. So how about that left-wing spin on the interview, Powers? Pretty creative, right?
It was interesting, definitely. I was interested to learn about the multiple investigations that have been done, in particularly the IRS, which I'd like to hear more about that, actually, because there actually have been no conclusions in any investigation, and there's been nobody held accountable. So I don't know what he's talking about there. On
well,
Benghazi,
Lois Lerner was held accountable. She was moved out of her position in the IRS, but she's taken the Fifth Amendment. And, of course, we don't know in the multiple investigations what Lois Lerner knows because she hasn't been granted immunity or anything else. So, but I think it's obvious to any fair-minded person, Kate, that Stewart is echoing what President Obama echoes. This is all Fox News. You just made it up. And I mean, I know his audience is buying it, but is anybody else?
No, I mean, Jon Stewart is ticked because you didn't follow the mainstream media and the White House's talking points. I mean, they accuse Fox News of having their set of talking points. Well, you diverged from theirs, and they're ticked about that. They're ticked about the fact that you actually exposed that there are none of these ongoing investigations. Lois Lerner wasn't fired. She's been, set aside. But I thought you were particularly good and irritating to them about the Benghazi issue. Exposing the fact that the president and the Secretary of State, I would have said, lied when it came to their explanation for what happened. That infuriates them because you're exposing this administration, the well-kept secrets, you're putting them out there front and center. They want to gloss right over it.
All right. We're going to have more on the Benghazi stuff with Cameron and Rosen coming up, and also tomorrow. But I want everybody to understand the reason that it matters is Secretary of State Clinton go, well, why does it matter? Remember that? Okay, the reason it matters is if there was a attempt, and that's a big if. I'm not convicting anybody. I'm not. But if there was an attempt to suppress honest information in a murder case because you didn't want to make your campaign look bad, that's serious. That's very, very serious. So that's why I am interested in this story. But I got to ask Powers this question. Powers, you know I've been rude to you on this program. Do you know that? Once in a while.
I've noticed that.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Not all the time.
From time to time.
Once in a
occasional.
while. Occasionally. Yeah. And it's my fault. And I
yes, it is.
I go to confession after I do that. I'm a good Roman Catholic boy. I go in. But now I heard yesterday that I was rude to the president. What did the guy from the Washington Post say? That it was what it was? I forget what he said. The guy is such a nasty. Thank you. Yeah, I was. It's nasty. Did you pick that up? And you're the one who should know, Powers.
Look, well, I have to say, as you know, we disagree on a lot of things, and I did not think you were rude to him, and in fact, I think that there needs to be more of that with the press, and I think the fact that any reporter would criticize you for that is concerning, because you were just trying to get answers to questions that, frankly, the president wouldn't even answer, and you asked repeatedly.
But the reporter doesn't want the answers because he's not really a reporter. He's a zealot.
Well, I'm not gonna. I don't agree
and
with that.
Concerns I do. Oh, that guy. I'm telling you. He's in business for one reason only, and that's to push progressive causes. Now, I haven't been as rude to you, Kate,
really,
as I have been.
Bill?
Once in a while I am, but I'm more. I think everybody would agree that I'm more rude to Powers than I am to you.
Oh my gosh, I can take it. Whatever.
All right. So when you see this, when you see these people after the interview, which by the way we estimate was watched by more than 100 million people, 20 million on a live broadcast, and about 80 million or more on the internet, and that's just in the USA. I mean, all over the world, in fact. So when you see these people, in the Washington Post, page 2, say that, that I was nasty and I was insulting to the office and all of that, how do you calibrate that?
Well, clearly they have not seen your Charlie Rangel interview, for one thing. And also, the mainstream media and these folks at the Washington Post, they expect you to act as a subject to an imperial monarch, a sovereign. And you didn't. You asked tough, probing questions, but you were respectful. You let the president go on and on in the full interview at times, when I thought I would have jumped in and asked him some questions about Iran and its nuclear capacity. But you were very deferential. But when he tried to filibuster, which we all know the president is expert at doing that, you said, no, wait a minute. I've got 5 more questions. I got 10 minutes here.
And we got a lot in the 20 minutes.
I thought it was very respectful, and I did think you covered a lot of issues. Jon Stewart obviously has not watched the full context of the interview, or he would know.
But he
talks about the economy, education, all sorts of things.
Yeah, he wanted global warming, but you can't go on the Comedy Central program and say, that Bill O'Reilly did a hell of a job. He can't. His whole audience would go, they'd all come over to here and watch us because we're up against them at 11 o'clock. So you can't do that. All right, ladies, thanks very much. And we do have a BillO'Reilly.com poll question for you. Please grade my interview with the president.